Hey, Coach Trevor from CUTigers.com. I know you have several guys that you hope will play on Saturday, but have you gotten through the last few practices without any new injuries?
What do you say? Say that again, Trevor. I'm sorry.
We lost you.
Have you gotten through the last few practices without any new injuries?
Yeah, I mean, we're in a good spot, and we'll put it out, like I said, last week and this week, next week. We're going to put out an available list on Saturday and get ready to play.
Coach, the tight ends have been great for you, Davis and Jake. I know Davis had a good season last year, but is this probably the best spot that you've been in since Leggett was here in 2016 in terms of tight ends in the passing game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got a great group, man. Davis is a pro. I mean, he can do it all. He's unbelievably committed. Brenny is a special young talent that just gets better and better every practice, every week. He's just so much more focused and polished and knowledgeable and just physically better than he was last year. Sage, hasn't had as much opportunity yet, but man, Sage is a great guy in that room that we think, has a bright future for us. Luke's old salty dog. So we got a good group and really proud of those guys and how they've performed with great consistency.
Hey, Coach, it's David Hood with TigerNet. I know I ask this all the time, but night game, Death Valley, top 10 matchup, a lot of extra juice with it. Do you have fun with this? Can you get a sense that the players going on the road last week, winning at a ranked Wake Forest team, now coming home, top 10 matchup here, that, yeah, it's fun for everybody?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to me, every time we walk in that stadium, it's special every time. I mean, I never take it for granted, and I know y'all get tired of saying it, but every game's the biggest game of the year. This is not the biggest game of the year because it's another ranked opponent. It's night game, all that stuff's great. But if none of that was there, it'd still be the biggest game of the year because, if we're going to achieve our goals, we want to stay in control of our destiny. That's the best way to do it. That all that stuff's great. We got an unbelievable environment. That's just, more juice, I guess, to go with it. And got all kind of external stuff, but as I've said many times, I mean, that's fuel for the fire, but external factors, night game, game day, rankings, all that, man, that cannot be the fire. The fire has to always come from within, that all that other stuff can be a little fuel to throw on it. But if that's the stuff that really motivates you, then you're never going to be consistent. And, I think that's what we have tried to, do year in and year out. And I think that we've done a great job of that, is be consistent. It's not that we win every game, but man, are consistent year in and year out because we have a certain mentality and it takes a mindset to have consistency. When you don't have that mindset and all of a sudden now I'm super motivated because of ranking, time of play, game day, all that stuff, it just leads to inconsistency because then you show up the next week and that stuff's not there. And so then you get beat. And so we've just tried to always, truly put everything we got into each and every one and just lose yourself in that process of that. And you look up at the end of the year and, man, you go, wow, man, season's over. And that's the mentality that it takes.
Has this turned into one of the nation's underrated rivalries?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly this is a huge division game every single year since I've been here. And then certainly as when division play came about, now it's a division opponent and you're not going to get to Charlotte if you don't win the division. So NC State has been a tough division opponent, every single year. And this is a great football team. They have they're ranked 10th in the country, because of what they've done. They've had a lot of consistency. Man, they got a lot of experience, a lot of veterans, a bunch of all-conference players on both sides of the ball. They got one of the best quarterbacks. I mean, a legit, no doubt NFL dude, and they're well coached. So, I mean, this is a big game every year. They do a great job, as good as anybody we play.
Hey, Coach, it's Trevor again. BT is amazingly 8 of 10 from 50 plus in his career. And as you mentioned, Phillip and Drew have done a great job with the hold, with the snap and the hold. But I'm just curious, will the weather affect your decision making when it comes to, kicking a 50-yarder as opposed to going for it on fourth or punting?
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. It definitely could. I mean, I wouldn't have kicked any long field goals when we played Notre Dame back in 15. That was a slosh fest. But absolutely, footing, wind, those are all things that you don't have any control over, and you have to make decisions. That's why, analytics are good, but analytics don't know if it's raining, right? And, or if it's 30-mile-an-hour wind, or what the condition of the field is. So I think you always have to make those type of decisions in the moment, and kind of where you are, and certainly be the case Saturday night. Whatever happens, and we got to find a way to win, whatever it takes.
Dabo, this is Matt. I think on one play last week, it seemed like Fred Davis was kind of upset. Maybe he didn't have help or someone wasn't there. Just, do you feel like the communication in the secondary, some of those issues y'all had with communication, do you feel better about it? And how's that going this week at practice?
It's been a really good week of practice. I'm pleased with how they've responded. And so, hopefully that'll show up Saturday night.
Dabo, this is Larry. What's your assessment of Marcus Tate so far this year?
Really proud of him. Night and day from where he was last year. I mean, he's just, really grown in his confidence, his technique, his understanding, details. He's playing fast. He's playing physical, and it's still all in front of him. But man, he is he's light years ahead of where he was this time last year. I mean, that group has really, gotten better and better each week. So even Blake, Blake had a great game last week, had 5.5 knockdowns. I mean, he's starting to, the game has slowed down a little bit. So this will be a different animal this week for him. So excited to see how he holds up, and all those guys. This will be a big game from a communication standpoint as far as how they pressure.
Coach, we talked about Thayer Thomas in the passing game yesterday, but he's also a very dangerous return man. Has a 38-yard punt return this year, averaged 10 per last year. I know you gave up a couple of punt returns against La Tech. Do you feel pretty good about your coverage unit?
Yeah, I mean, worked hard at it, and got to make sure we get a good punt to give those guys the chance, and then do a good job netting it up. But you said it best. I mean, he's really good. He's dangerous. He's fearless. If he's got just a little bit of real estate, he's going to go with it. And so we got to net it up very well, and and tackling. I mean, he's a hard guy to bring down. So very confident, very savvy. Again, very experienced player, and he's a guy that can change the game in a heartbeat on special teams.
Anybody else for Coach?
Yeah, going back to the tight ends for a minute, Dabo, when you have success with them, how much does that sort of free things up for the receivers, and maybe vice versa?
I mean, I just think the more playmakers you have, the better. And, it just breeds confidence in everyone when everybody on the field can make a play. And that's what I think we are right now. I think we got guys that can make plays at every position, whether we're in 3 wides or 2 wides, to whatever, whoever's on the field, we feel like they can make plays. And the running backs, the tight ends, the receivers, we've really made some progress there, and the confidence is really good. So, but when you got big, tall, athletic tight ends, it definitely, opens things up, for those guys outside as well. And, and Street and those guys have done a great job just, formationing and creating, and then, but it all goes back to DJ. I mean, DJ is very confident. He's really seeing everything. And the chemistry is as good as it's been in a long time. And so very encouraged by what we've had there.
Coach, I thought it was interesting. Shipley told me yesterday that he thought it was a mistake to try to extend the ball across the goal line on that game tying touchdown because it was not fourth down. We've seen so many players lose the ball in those situations. Obviously, you're happy with the result, but do you tell your guys not to do that, particularly if it's a wet ball like it will be Saturday?
Yeah, oh yeah, we're always coaching and tracking what we call balls in jeopardy, BIJs, and you'd rather say woe than sick 'em, right? So that's just kind of how he's wired, and he's relentless. It worked out, but it's definitely always something that we coach when you talk about extending the ball. You're putting it in jeopardy, so make sure you get it in there.
Hey,
Yeah,
Coach,
but this is,
go ahead.
yeah, this is Chapel with the State. We talked to Kyle Richardson this week. Just through these first 4 games, what's kind of your assessment of how he's helped the offense in that new role he has this year?
He's great. I mean, he's done a great job, preparing his guys week in and week out. He's always been a great voice in that offensive room. He's a senior assistant for us, so he's always had input, but certainly now he's got a lot more. But very organized, very detailed, and has done an outstanding job. Been a great addition. The whole staff is really, and our support staff in that room as well as the on the field guys coaching. I'm proud of the effort and work that they put in through 4 games.
This is David. That was actually kind of going to be part of my question. Is Coach Richardson was saying that he has the red zone each week and he uses Coach Gross and Andrew Shipman and Taj Boyd, and then Tyler has third down. And I was wondering, who helps Tyler? Is this something new? Who does first and second down? Kind of how does all that shake out? I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, well, that's how we've always kind of broken down, but we kind of break down different components of the game plan for every section. For first down, third and medium, third and long, coming out, 2 minute, and so we use all of our staff to kind of, it's more efficient that way. And then we come back and we collaborate and look at it and make sure we're all on the same page and punch holes in it or confirm it. But we really try to be very efficient with our time, and so we kind of assign everyone, and Tyler works. He and Streeter, working there together on third down, and but we divide the whole staff, divide and conquer, and I would think most staffs probably do it that way. And again, just it leads to creativity and everybody taking ownership. You're not just sitting there waiting for one person to tell everybody what we're going to do. Everybody's invested. Everybody's, a part of the process. And then you pull it all together, and, you battle it out and fight for what you believe in. And decision makers, we make final decisions on, okay, hey, here's the plan, and let's go. And everybody gets behind it. So, because there's a lot of good things. And there's a lot of good things that you like, maybe game plan wise, and maybe there's a lot of things that you feel like you could even execute, but it still comes down to, okay, well, what can we practice and really, within our practice time frame, and really be polished and precise and detailed. And that's ultimately how you put it together.
Thank you.
Anyone else for Coach?
Yeah, but with Antonio, it seems like for a young guy, he does a nice job of finding holes and finding spots in zone. Just how important could that be this week against NC State that may play a good bit of zone?
Very important. We put him in there as a starter last week. Felt like he deserved that opportunity, and he's a great young player. But he's one of the reasons you've seen him is because he's demonstrated that. He's got great feel, great instincts. He plays fast, and he's very coachable, and he understands the plan. He's one of those young, rare guys that can really, truly get it in the meeting room, take it to the practice field. Sometimes it takes a little while for guys to develop that way, but he's a natural.